All right, welcome to For Action Takers Only. Tonight I got Alex Perkins. He's from Punta Gunda, Florida. He began Sub 2 about 18 months ago. He's a 26-year-old young go-getter. I see him out there every day on YouTube posting some content that's very valuable. So I'm going to bring him on in here and let him introduce himself to you. What's up, Alex? How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
Good, good. Let's get you introduced to everybody. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah. So essentially, just was drawn to real estate like 2019 or so. Just kind of got out of college, got my first normal person job, and realized like the smaller amount of time I could do that, the better. So I ended up buying my first rental property, just the regular old like 3% down, move into it, fix it up, make it a rental. Right, did that again actually. And then from there, I was just really curious as to how I could accelerate this process because it was working. It was just going way too slow, right? So got really interested in just other forms of real estate investing. Ended up joining Sub Two. Um, you know, Pulled a list. Cold called myself. Did a couple more deals there. Kept all those. And then and kind of wound up here where I'm at now. Moved to Florida. I'm working on an acquisition team now, and just kind of loving life.
All right, so you moved. Where were you living before Florida?
Before Florida, it was Dubuque, Iowa.
Dubuque, Iowa. Is that where you started Sub 2, though?
Yep. Actually, that is where I was when I started Sub Two.
All right. So who was your first contact in Sub 2?
Ooh, that is a
Remember?
good question. Probably somebody from the nightly dial or the daily dial. I remember that was kind of the first spot I went, just daily dial, nightly dial. Probably Caroline, Daryl Ellison. I remember he had a whole bunch of really good stuff for me when I was really early in Sub Two, and I think both the nightly dial and the daily dial. So really had a lot of impact on me there.
Cool. So what brought you to Sub 2? Why did you want to get into real estate investing?
Yeah, so just like the freedom, right? Just everyone's chasing the freedom, and then you start to see more and more the things that are possible and what everyone else is doing, and it just is like so exciting to me, and it just feels like I'm so not built for a W-2 that it's that's so crazy, and it was just so magical when I discovered this group of Sub Two that. A little bit of me always kind of felt like just a little bit different, or I don't want to use the word outsider, but almost outsider, like just with the people I'm around. I could tell my thoughts were just a little bit different stuff, and I thought I was kind of alone there, and then end up finding this group of Sub Two where there's like thousands and thousands of people. So that was super special for me. But that is essentially what drew me here, is just like the opportunity, the excitement, the dream, and I've seen the things that are possible, and I am trying to achieve those.
Oh, cool. So how did you run across Pace Morby and Sub 2? Did you just find them on YouTube or what?
Yeah. Yep. It
Yeah.
was totally. It was YouTube. I was probably watching some other YouTube guys at the time too. Actually, I remember I was watching. I think I caught a couple Graham Stephan videos, a couple
Okay.
Meet Kevin videos, just on like regular rentals and stuff. And I was like, okay, this sounds cool. Like, passive income, build wealth, that sort of thing. So started watching their YouTube videos on rentals and stuff like that, and then that just eventually you catch on to some of the people who are a little bit um, um, deeper into the real estate game, like the Pace Morbies, the Jerry Nortons. So started to come across them, and that was a little bit more my flavor. So
Cool, cool. So what's your avatar?
I am a closer. So I'm a closer on Alejandro Alvarez's acquisition team, and that's pretty much where I'm at now.
Yeah. And how's that going?
Excellent. Yeah, I really like it there. The guys are awesome. The culture is awesome. Alejandro is just a super impressive visionary. Like every time he talks about his like his vision, I guess it
Hmm.
just kind of resets my expectation for what a visionary should be. So I really like him. I love um, his inputs for how I should be on the phones and stuff like that, because he's a monster on the phones.
And how did you connect with Alejandro?
Oh, that is a good question. I think I was working my W-2 job, and then I ended up just quitting that and starting to just do the wholesale game by myself. Never actually ended up wholesaling a deal. I just always got too excited, ended up keeping all of them. But so I was working just kind of by myself, just doing the grind in the basement, just 10 hours a day in front of the computer, calling people. And then just I was looking for a way to kind of accelerate that, right? And it's not like it wasn't working, like it was working. It was just slow. But
Okay.
I kept hearing other people say like join a team, you're getting paid to train and all that stuff like that. So that was very interesting to me as well. Just looking for a way where I could make connections, I could get paid, I could get training essentially. I could get introduced to what a more successful wholesale business looks like. I could get inside there. And then on top of that, get the trainings from the guys who are way better than me, right? That's super valuable to me too. And also, something I've realized since I've joined this team now, all day long, 10 hours a day or whatever, I can focus on closing. And that is making my closing skills, exponentially better. Instead, before it was like 10% of the time I'm closing, 10% of the time I'm doing dispo, 10% of the time I'm figuring out how to do TC work. I'm trying to generate leads. Like I was learning everything, but this opportunity has really let me like deep dive on one skill. And I think that's been very valuable for me.
So how long did it take you to get into closing? Did you
Um,
jump right in, or did you think you're pretty good at that and jump right in at that, huh?
started as a lead manager,
Okay.
2 months maybe, somewhere in that ballpark. A couple months or something as a lead manager, and then I got bumped up to closer.
All right. So did you do anything like in daily dials to help with your conversations doing closing?
Yeah, yeah, totally. So that was when I first joined Sub Two. Those are my two favorite ones to go to: daily dial and nightly dial. Just I was really impressed by those guys and their ability on the phones, and it was such a contrast because when I was calling sellers, like I was praying that I would hear a voicemail, so I didn't actually have to talk to somebody. Like I'm hitting the green button and just like hoping they don't answer, just so
Right.
nervous and terrified and stuff like that. And these guys are so like confident and charismatic, and they're able to basically help these people and dig into what's actually going on and solve problems and stuff like that. And that was just very impressive to me.
Yeah. So how long did you stay in the nightly dials before you actually got on the phones and did it yourself?
I was it was immediate. It was simultaneous. Like I was calling sellers all day long, and then at the end of the day, hop on the nightly dial, and in the morning, when I was working out or whatever, I'd had the daily dial going too, trying to get role plays in there, and then trying to call live sellers at night with all the guys there and get their feedback. So it was simultaneous.
Okay. So since you've been in 18 months now, how long did it take you to get your first deal? You said you didn't get one when you were wholesaling by yourself, but when you got with Alejandro?
Well, so I joined Sub Two, and then I immediately pulled a. I learned like what creative finance was and all this cool stuff. So I pulled a list of vacant properties, and then I just started cold calling off my cell phone. Pretty short after that, honestly, I locked up a seller finance deal. I don't know. It probably was like a month or so, honestly, locked up this seller finance deal, but I was like so excited that like I probably didn't underwrite it very well, right? And I was so excited and I wanted to do this deal, and it was seller finance and it was 0% interest and all these other exciting things, right? So I basically volunteered to fix up the property my entire self, and I raised the money with a partner. He brought the money, and I was basically bringing the deal and the work, and that was a massive renovation. So that pretty much took my time for the next 5 months straight, just like day in day out. So that was kind of unfortunate, but I did get my first deal right away. But then it was like a long gap before I could really even focus on trying to get another deal.
Because you were working on that one.
Yep, I was
So
swinging
you
a
got
hammer.
did you get your first deal in the first month, would you say?
Yeah, it was about a month.
All right. Did you have any previous experience before coming into Sub 2?
In real estate, yeah. So
Okay.
like I said, I was buying. I bought two properties the conventional way, right? Where I
Okay.
had a W-2 job. I put 3% down. I moved into them, cleaned them up, fixed them up a little bit, and then just moved out and made it a rental and
Okay.
bought another one for 3% down. Same strategy. So I had some experience in real estate there just because I've owned two properties, and then also just growing up too, like. I've worked on apartment units and just minor renovations. So I had a small amount of renovation skills in my tool belt.
Okay. So what do you focus on now? What does your team focus on now? Are you looking to buy more buy and hold, or are you doing Airbnbs? What are you doing?
Yeah, so my main thing is long-term rental. I have a couple of lease options going too, and I like those a lot, especially right now in my stage of business, because it's a little capital injection right into your business right away, and that's very helpful for me. So I'm looking to pick up more lease options. Most of my properties right now are in Dubuque, Iowa, which is a market that, cash flows. It's good there.
Okay.
Just like I said, moved to Southwest Florida. The cash flow is not as good here, but I definitely want to buy some properties down here. I definitely want to take advantage of this crazy appreciation, and I think it's an awesome market down here. So I'm going to be looking to buy some stuff down here and then maybe explore some options to kind of crank up the cash flow. Like obviously pad split super hot right now. I'm pretty interested in that. And maybe a couple other options, maybe Airbnb, something along those lines.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. Is Florida doing any restrictions against Airbnb down there?
Yeah, a little bit. So the county I'm in is Charlotte County.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe there's anything there, but I think the county just north of me, which is Sarasota County, I believe they have restrictions on nothing less than 30 days. And yeah, it is starting to pop up a little bit. So, and don't quote me on that, but that is my understanding currently. It is they're starting to pop up a little bit with
Yeah,
restrictions.
something to think about there. I thought about Airbnbs, and then I was thinking, well, I hear Dallas Fort Worth has started putting some restrictions in some of the areas, and then
Yeah,
Florida.
that's scary.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to wait on that and see what happens with that. But I haven't even done my first deal yet, so I'm kind of jumping ahead. Still
Sure.
working on the first deal. I came in with no experience, so I have absolutely none, greener than can be. But so what would you do? Say, describe some of your hard times
Ooh,
through sub two doing the real estate investing, and what got you through.
man. That's a really good question. I like that. I got a couple. I'm kind of odd, honestly, in that regard. Like I, for some reason, associate struggle and pain with like success. So I kind of
Okay.
enjoy it. Like, for example, that first property I bought, like there was a kitchen fire in it. Like it was pretty toasted. And then I
Yeah.
moved into it, but that entailed basically like sleeping in the woodshed out back and like working on it. It was like basically like a live-in fix and flip. I'm like on a $10 air mattress that whole time. So that was a definite good one. And then, there's just been times where I'm just absolutely strapped for cash. Like I'm thinking, one, I was living at a property and then I sold that property on a lease option. I really needed money, so they gave me 5 grand. But it's like now I have to go somewhere, so I started hitting the phones really hard, and I ended up negotiating a duplex for $500 down. So that was cool, but the cash flow was a little bit negative, honestly. So that got a little intense too. So I needed a place to go. I didn't have really any money, so it worked out perfect. But I ended up moving into the basement of there and really um, living that basement life. Like there was no plumbing or anything like that, right? So that was
Oh,
probably
wow.
6 months, and it was cold too. It was in Iowa. The basement was probably like 55 degrees. So yeah, it was rough a little bit, but like for some reason I like that stuff. Like I'm kind of
Struggling
addicted
through it,
to
huh?
that. It's weird.
Yeah. So, tell me about your mindset techniques. Do you have any mindset techniques, anything
Mm.
you do to help you get through those times, to keep you going because this is a rough business?
Yeah, two things come to mind there. The first is, I don't want this to sound negative, but like if you have a kind of a chip on your shoulder,
Mhm.
honestly, for me that is extremely extremely motivating because I'm sure you have it. Everybody's got it. You've got those little memories of times where people doubted you or didn't believe you or disrespected you or something like that, something along those lines that you can't do that. Like, what are you thinking? You're an idiot, and that is extremely motivating for me. So that's kind of a little bit more on the dark side of things, but which I think is okay. Currently, the acquisition team I'm on right now, every Saturday morning, we actually have like a mindset meeting, and we have like YouTube videos that we like study, and we talk about the key points that we take away and the things we learn, and that's been very beneficial for my mindset as well. There.
Well, that's good. Hey, with the team, when you joined the team, did your Alejandro do any kind of training with you? Since you were going to be a closer, did he help you? Hey, this is how I want you to go, or did he listen to you and say and give you pointers? Does he help you out in that area?
Yeah, yeah. So Alejandro, he's kind of like which every good business owner should do. He's like moving out of the business, right? But the people that he has behind him, like, are all people he's trained. So I do get some stuff from Alejandro too, but Vic on the team, who was trained like basically directly by Alejandro. Vic is the man. We do call calibrations twice a week. We role play objections, that sort of stuff, and we're always bouncing ideas off each other. Like, how do you handle when the seller says this, or what do you do in this situation, or how do you prevent this, right? So we do get a lot of that, and we all sharpen each other for sure.
All right. Hey, so do you get in sub two and help any other people out with doing some roll calls? Do you still go on the nightly dials and help out there, or do any of that?
Man, I wish I was more active in there, honestly, right now. Just the work schedule is a little intense, you know. So we usually start at 9 a.m. With like a meeting there, and then we'll go till 8 p.m. So don't really have that much time for like Zooms and stuff like that as much as I'd like. But um,
Understandable.
yeah, unfortunately, no, I don't really get in the Zooms too much. But I think, you know, someday I'm going to start to try to squeeze that in. And
Squeeze it.
then just obviously trying to take care of my own personal properties and stuff in the morning and grow my own portfolio there too.
Okay. So, what are some of your goals for the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
Yes. Yeah, awesome
Yes.
question.
Yes.
So, man, 3 to 5 years.
Do short term. If you know what's your short term goal? What do you have in mind right away? Like, I want to accomplish this. This is what I want
Yeah.
to do.
So in the past, I've really struggled with focus.
Okay.
Just to be 100% honest with you, I had shiny object syndrome so badly. Like 1 second, it was affiliate marketing, and then it was start a pressure washing business, and then it was start a 3D scanning business, and that like it was like everything, and then like 2 seconds later. So I'm really recently trying to focus honestly on one thing right now, and that's sales actually. So I've started to kind of adopt the 12-week year model where you know you have your goals set out for the next 12 weeks and kind of try to compress a year into a quarter, which is 12 weeks. In the last 2 quarters, my focus has been sales, and all my goals have been revolved around that, and like conversations per day, and like minutes of sales training per week, and that sort of stuff. So for
Okay.
the next year, probably foreseeable, I will also continue down that path, just really trying to master my sales skills, my closer skills, just because I recognize how high leverage of a skill that is and how important that is just in business in general. And I do plan on, you know, doing big things in the future. And like, I have these crazy goals. Like I want to own $1 billion worth of real estate. And I recognize to do that, I'm going to be raising money and I'm going to be doing a lot of sales in the future. Right. And that skill that it all starts with sales. Right.
Right. So tell us about your you put content out on Facebook every day. Tell us about that. What's your goal with that?
Yeah. Yeah. So that is, I'm trying to really show people like here's my resume, here's how I kind of view social media. I view it as your like credibility package, your resume. And I want to help people too for sure, so I do try to post like at least one post a day. Normally it's some sort of short form video or something
Mhm.
like that. And then once a week I also post a long form video, excuse me. So I view that as when I go to ask somebody for money, when I go to do a deal with somebody, or I try to partner with somebody, right? Like I can show them this. Like, here's my Facebook. I'm actually doing this business. I actually know something. Like here, look what I'm doing right now, and that's been actually very effective in terms of finding partners, finding deals, and raising money. So, and then also like something I've recently really started experiencing too is just helping people like gets that emotional income for you so much. It's crazy. Like, I made a post in the creative finance with Pace Morby group just to see if I could help anybody. And I've been doing a ton of, just quick 15-minute calls with newer investors, seeing if I can help them get their first deal or something like that. And that's been extremely rewarding as well.
Cool, cool. So that's I had a question, I just lost it. So what books do you I know you said one, we all have read the one, but you did mention that. But any other books that you like that have really helped push you in the right direction?
Yeah. I mean, I got to pay my ode to Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Right.
That, that one, like, that one got me a little wild when I read that. That was I did some crazy stuff after I read that book. Like I said, I bought the house with the kitchen fire and all that wild stuff. So, man, I got to pay tribute to that one for sure. And then another great one that I hear people say a lot too: How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Right.
I
Yeah.
really dig that one, and I for some reason I view older books as like better. I don't know if like time is like kind of a filter, and then the great ones like stand the test of time is kind of my theory. So that's a great book. That is exceptional.
Okay. So do you look to JV with more people since you're going to be helping them out? You're going to be JVing with people?
Absolutely. Yep. So in the past, I have basically partnered with people, private money partners mostly, to basically we take down rentals together, and then, like I said, we've sold a couple on lease options. So I am definitely looking to do more of that. I'm also looking to potentially JV some people. I can close your leads, that sort of thing, or we can buy some real
Well,
estate together. Like that's pretty exciting too.
I might call on you for that. So
Okay,
I need to
cool.
close. I can cold call, but I'm no good at closing yet. I'm not. I got to get better at conversations. And the sad
Yeah.
thing is, my job stops me from getting in those daily dials a lot. So I get real. I'm using this to increase my conversations with people. Just get better at talking with people too.
There
So
you
that's
go.
the idea behind this. Um, what kind of things will you work with other people on? What kind of deals? What wholesaling? Are there specific ones that you'll do, won't do?
Um, I mean, where I see my value add is like I know how to renovate a property, I know how to sell a property on a lease option, and I know how to close a deal. Um, that's kind of where I'd feel most comfortable, like JVing with somebody, where like maybe I can bring the deal, I can close the deal, or I can, do something like that, right? And then whatever, if they want to bring the lead, I close it. If they want to, dispo it, something along those lines, I think
Okay.
I'm open to anything like that. I love partnering with people. Every time I partner with somebody, I learn, I make a new connection. I really actually benefited from it.
All right. So have you done a lot of foreclosures? Closed a lot of foreclosures?
No. So
No?
I started early in my sub two journey, door knocking, pre foreclosure.
Okay.
Actually,
All right.
I got a couple of deals actually there, but they ended up falling apart right before closing. Like had crazy liens and stuff like that, and that was unfortunate. But that was a good experience for me as well, and I think that's a pretty solid strategy for a lot of people too to go.
All right. So what's been looking back on your 18 months in sub two, what's been your best experience and your worst experience?
Ooh, related to sub two.
Yeah, just to sub two, just going
Okay.
on and like deals and that you're working on in there or whatever.
Oh, okay. Hmm. That property that I told you that I renovated all by myself pretty much for for 5 months straight.
Worst
Probably,
experience?
yeah, probably the best experience I think that I've had is when I'm the day I was finally done with that, and I like, and just absolutely like I'm done renovating. Like I pretty much vowed to never work on another property again. I can manage a renovation, but I ended up giving away all my tools to other people and stuff like that. But that was a really powerful moment for me, and I know it kind of sounds dumb, but like that whole time, that whole 4 months, I was like mad at myself and frustrated, and I realized the mistake I'd made. But I think that going through that process was so important for me. One, it took my renovation skills to the next level, but two, it helped me understand like business better. It's like I am not the guy that sits here and swings the hammer. Like I need to be 10 levels above this person. Like
Oh,
this
okay.
is not an effective use of my time. So I learning that lesson and finally being done with that was extremely powerful for me. I still remember that day. So that was probably my biggest positive. Um, man, my biggest negative. I can't really think of one. I mean, I've just been
Mhm.
enjoying the journey, honestly. Maybe if you want to call anything a negative, committing to that seller finance deal where I just raised my hand and said, "Yeah, I'll do the whole renovation. If let's just make it work." That's
And
probably the
then
biggest negative. And then
so
realizing like what I just did.
yeah, so you just jumped in and took action, even though you didn't know. I mean, that's just awesome. You didn't know, hey, and the pace always pushes that. That's why I love that. So it's like,
Yeah.
man, I did that with this doing this podcast. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. He did this project forward, said, hey, do a podcast. I was like, what? So now here I am. So cool. Um, what do you want to do? Or I was going to ask Alejandro, how does he split? How do you do your deals? Like when you close one, you got a deal come. Do you bring your own deals into his organization too, or are you keeping yours separate?
Yeah, so most of my deals I just keep separate. But he does so he the way he operates is kind of unique actually. So he basically partners with database partners that they generate the lead, they bring the data, we close it, dispo it, TC, all that good stuff.
Okay.
Um, so but most of my deals are separate, but there is another closer on the team that he's a closer and a database partner. So I've actually considered doing something similar to that as well, just to just exploring my options. Kind of seems interesting.
Okay. Do you have your own business set up, your own LLC set?
Yep, yeah, I got a couple of them. So I got one for wholesaling. I got a two or three for just my buy and hold stuff as well.
Okay. All right. We're getting ready to wrap it up here. I want you to tell it any links. Like, do you have any social media you want to let the people know that they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, YouTube, check me out. It's Alex Perkins REI. So just at Alex Perkins REI. Um, Instagram, I believe, is Alex.Perkins96. Something along those lines. You'll find. Check out the YouTube. That's the main one. I'm going to be posting YouTube Shorts every day, and then my long form content on there as well.
Cool. And I'm going to ask you, man, I like your daily posts. So I would ask you that you double your post. You just repost it, whatever you're posting for that day in our group too.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
I
could
can do
use that.
that.
So that would be awesome if you would do that. Because I mean, your posts I'm finding very valuable. I'm learning a lot from the stuff you post, and I very much appreciate you doing that, man. That's how I found you, and that's why I was like, I gotta get this guy on because you're doing it. You're helping other people learn, even though you're not really intending to do that, I guess. But man, I was like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing, and you're young, and it amazes me. I'm blown away by all the young guys in here doing this and kicking ass at it. So, and I see you doing it and kicking ass. You're on a team closing. I'm going to have to call on you to do some closing for me. I know that. Again, I'm not a closer, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm a direct to anything, because maybe I'm just a connector. I don't know. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to find my spot in this. So I really thank you for your time. Anything else you want to throw in here and tell us about? Nothing.
Ah, man, that's pretty much it. I really appreciate you letting me come on here and like, man, I really appreciate you and this relationship that we have. I appreciate all the praise, man. It makes me feel good and makes me want to keep doing this stuff. So yeah, keep
No,
rocking
I
on,
think you
man. This is
should. You're
awesome.
doing great. And the other thing I wanted to ask you, can I use you as a friend? Because I still have shiny object syndrome. So I'm trying to do the zero down with Pace Morby too. So can I put you down as a friend
Oh
on?
yeah, you bet.
Awesome, cool. I appreciate your time, man. It's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'm probably gonna want to get some people on or get you back on here after I've been doing this for a while and do another interview and see where you're at in 6 months to a year. What do you think?
I'd love that.
Awesome. Well, Alex, I appreciate your time. I'm going to call it now and hang out. I got to hang out with you a few minutes and let your audio and stuff record or download so I can get it on here.
Perfect. Let's do it.